Houston Healthcare. We're recognized as one of the top hospitals in the state based solely on the advanced medical technology we provide. But what isn't taken into account is our people. We have over 2,000 employees that are focused, dedicated, and sincere in their mission to create a positive healthcare outcome for each patient. It just goes to show that maybe the most important aspect of great healthcare is the people who are taking care of you, and that just can't be measured. Houston Healthcare, advanced medical care, closer to home.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Michael Collins, 2024 Chair of the Robbins Regional Chamber Board of Directors.
Good morning. Welcome back to another Eggs and Issues. I'm honored to represent TCS as board chair this year. And we have a great program with lots of stuff that we got to cram in today. So, as usual, we can't present the great content for you without the generous support of our sponsors. So our hosting sponsor for this series is Houston Healthcare, who we just heard from the video just a second ago. We're also thankful for our long-term presenting sponsor, Synovus, and I'd like to ask Ron Weigel at this time to come up and lead us in our prayer and pledge. So, welcome, Ron Weigel, please.
Michael didn't say anything about jokes, but y'all already know you're going to get one. Okay. If y'all will stand, let's do the prayer and the pledge. Lord, thank you for this day. We come to you humbly, with reverence of who you are and what you do for us. We know you're the creator of all things, and we're so grateful for your Son and the sacrifice he made and the grace you've given us. We have way too many blessings to count. As I think about this community, there's too many places to mention, but I think about the people that protect us, not only in the military, but the police. I think about the people that educate us in the school systems and higher education. I think about our hospitals and all those that represent us in other capacities. And so with that, we can't get anything done without you, and we lift those up and ask for your mercies as it relates to our community. And we also lift up those in need. There's lots of spiritual, physical, emotional needs that we ask that you keep us sensitive to and to look for. And just thank you for all you do for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Y'all please be seated. Have a couple things. First of all, again, thank you, April, for putting this on, and the chamber. You know, I don't know where else you would go and find such meaningful content and rich content about what's going on in the community if you're not coming here. The truth is you won't get it. And so I know today we're going to hear from Dr. Scott about the educational system that we're all so proud of. And so in that vein, I thought I'd just do, you know, I've done a couple public service announcements. I'm going to do another one today. Look, you know, our part of education is financial literacy. And you could ask virtually any banker in this room to help you, but I think my plea is to just create awareness and encourage anybody that feels like that there's a need in the community to reach out to whoever you deal with for help. And so when I think about financial literacy, there's lots of layers of that. And I think at the most basic level, we try and complement what we do in the educational system. But beyond that, there's people that get through school and maybe don't know how to balance a checkbook, or maybe they don't know how to budget, or maybe they don't know how to save for something. There's lots of layers to this financial literacy that, you know, our bank, Synovus, and lots of other banks are willing to help with. So if you have an organization that you represent, either you own a business or you're part of an organization and you feel like your team needs help, call somebody. You know, if there's a church or a small nonprofit organization, you know, call somebody. And so, look, there's resources that are out there, and we deal with this every day, so obviously we're more sensitive to it. But I guess that would be my plea today, is that if you see that, acknowledge it, and then just reach out, because there's more than one bank trying to help. So I'm going to tell y'all a joke, but first, because Mark's going to get up here, I'm going to tell you something y'all might not know about Mark Scott. While his vocation is not he's not a hospitalist and he's not a physician, but he did save my life. And I want to tell you this story real quick. What y'all may not know is we went to Georgia Military College together. And I had a little bit smaller frame, okay? And if y'all know Mark, he has a much bigger frame. And so I loved football. I really did. And, you know, I just remember, now Mark doesn't remember all this, but this is indelibly printed in my memory, okay? So we're scrimmaging one day, and I'm playing safety, and he doesn't remember running through the line, but I just pictured him. He's been that size all of his life. When he was in 9th grade, he was that big. You know, I was 100 pounds, right? Anyway, he busts through the line, and I'm playing safety, and in my mind, in that split second, how you think about things, I'm like, I gotta let him go, but not so I get cut, right? So I decided I'm gonna make a diving tackle for his leg, because there's no way I can stop him. And for those of you who are not familiar with the phrase truck, who knows what getting trucked means? Okay, I got trucked. That means he ran through me, okay? And the part where it means he saved my life is like, I love football. I just didn't have the build for it. And I think right now, if I had still played football, I'd be in a bad state. So Mark, thank you for saving my life. Okay? I thought that was appropriate this morning. All right. I'm going to see what your response is on these jokes, okay? So, had to make them educational related. Why did Stalin only write in lowercase? Because he believed in capitalism, because he hated capitalism. Dang, that's right. Dang. Okay, all right. Hang on, I got one more. What does an educated owl say? Whom? See, that's good. Thank y'all for indulging me. Look forward to hearing the comments.
Thanks, Ron. Always an adventure. I'd like to thank our weather sponsor this morning, Kim Hamlin, the Hamlin Group. She's responsible for the little dip in temperatures we had this morning, so be sure to thank her. Our oxygen sponsor this morning, no, we don't have an oxygen sponsor, but if you want to sign up, I'm sure April can help you out. Our supporting sponsor this morning is Terma. We're really thankful for their support as well. But our session sponsor this morning is Parish Construction, so please welcome Britt Sutton to the platform to give a few remarks about Parish.
Thank you, Michael, and just having the opportunity to sponsor this session of Eggs and Issues with Houston County and Education, it really means a lot to Parish, because the majority of our business that we really focus on is building educational facilities across the state. And depending on the year, we're either the largest or second largest education builder in the state of Georgia. And that, in my role, I get to meet superintendents and boards from all over the state of Georgia, from down in Thomasville to all the way up in Rome, over to Augusta. And when they hear that I'm from Houston County, everyone consistently comes up and talks about the reputation and the standard that we set here for our school system. And I believe that is solely because of the leadership that Dr. Scott, Dr. Rogers, our executive cabinet, and our board, the leadership that they instill in our teachers and educators every day is just the highest amount. So really, I'd just like to say thank y'all for y'all's leadership and y'all's dedication to the students in Houston County. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Brent. One of the most important, yet often most overlooked activities of the Chamber is to advocate policy and legislation that supports our business community, our region, and the future sustainability and vitality of Robins Air Force Base. This year, our Public Policy Council, led by Colonel Don Lane, took a very active role in the legislative session. And I personally hope you felt more knowledgeable and engaged about bills impacting our business climate and regional competitiveness with our enhanced communication throughout the season. One of the most visible efforts we undertook this session was to support Georgia House Bill 880, which significantly enhances opportunities for military spouses joining Georgia's workforce through an expedited licensing process. I'm proud of the role the Chamber took alongside our counterparts, the Georgia Hub Council and 21st Century Partnership. So I'd like to ask Dan Rose from 21st Partnership to go ahead and come on, join me on the platform. We focus our advocacy efforts to directly support the heavy lift of championing the critical piece of legislation led by Representative Bethany Ballard. It wasn't easy to get this bill across the finish line. Bethany tenaciously kept the spotlight on this bill until it made it to the House floor. And once it got there, not one representative voted against it. On April 25th of this year, the governor signed the bill into law. And since its passing, this bill has become a model policy with the American Legislation Exchange Council. That means that this is the gold standard policy for the entire nation, where it will serve to help our veteran families nationwide. So at this time, I'd like to ask Bethany to come forward so we can present her with a commemorative photo of the bill signing, along with one of the pens used to sign it that day, as a token of our appreciation. Please welcome Bethany.
Here we go. Okay, great.
Good morning, good morning. Yes, thank you so much for your hard work in championing that. We have another opportunity to support our military in front of you on your tables, which is the note cards that you will see. The 21st Century Partnership is already gearing up for their annual drive for us to help support all of the men and women at Robins and that are stationed out of Robins. And so we're excited for you to have that opportunity from now through October. So we'll have cards you can write, but I am personally excited to have Dr. Mark Scott today for our Eggs and Issues Breakfast on Education. Dr. Scott, I'm going to ask for you to come on up. As was mentioned with Ron, I feel like maybe he didn't save my life, but I have known Dr. Scott for over 20 years now. I won't go into all the things before education and the ways our paths have crossed, but Dr. Scott was the principal of the school where my husband was the middle school band director for a number of years, and ever since he got in Houston County, he called Terry. He's like, Terry, y'all need to come to Houston County. There's something special here, and he kept trying, and and I had a baby, and then he tried again, and then I had another baby, and then I got a different job, and the timing was never right. And I am so thankful that 10 years ago, the opportunity arose for the chamber president position to be open, and that search committee took a big chance on hiring me, but there was a middle school band director position that came open the end of that school year, and Terry has coveted the opportunity to work with you again, Dr. Scott, and I just wanted to personally say thank you as we lead in to this session. I know you've got a lot of people you want to honor and thank this morning as well.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to our community, because we're fortunate to live in a community that loves and supports public education, and I believe that our community thrives because of the support that we receive. And as I say all the time to our staff and our people, is the people are the ones that make the difference. The people in this community, the people that work in our schools, and part of those people are our board. Our Board of Education keeps the main thing, and that's the students. And we're so appreciative to our board for the work that they do. I know that they often get blamed for stuff that I do or decisions that I make, because a lot of times, people refer to the board as talking about the people that work at the board, not necessarily the people that are represented as board members, but they do an outstanding job and keep the focus on the students and make decisions that are right for the students. And, in Georgia law, it says that being a board member is like no other elected official. And I do believe that that's the way that our board treats their position. And they're not really there to represent the constituents. They're there to represent the students that sit in our classroom. So thank you for what you do each and every day. And we have our executive cabinet here. We're a large organization. Those people are people that work hard every day to make sure that we're supporting the mission and that we're delivering the services that we commit to our community to deliver. And so I'm just proud of our governance team, and I know that I would not want to leave out the fact that our board is up for Governance Team of the Year. They are one of 2 systems in the state of Georgia that qualified for that award, and they'll be having an interview process here coming up. They're working hard to prepare for that, and so hopefully in December we'll be bringing home that trophy, and I congratulate them on that as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And we've already talked about the leadership of you, Dr. Scott, and the board and your executive team. But leadership is something that permeates every level of our school district, and I think it is something that is a driving factor in why we're the envy of many of our counterparts. Your theme for this school year, and of course opening session, is leading the way. And I think it's aptly appropriate. Can you share a little bit about what all that entails this year?
Yeah, and at opening session, we always celebrate our students and our staff and all the accomplishments they've had in the past year. And so we are often recognizing that our young people are holding national office in student organizations, and that our young people are competing in competitions across the nation. And people know about Houston County because our young people go out and represent our school system and our community in such a great way. And we felt like it was an opportunity for us to just verbalize the ways that we lead the way. And so we challenge our teachers and our clubs and organization is to make that leading the way, how are you leading the way? And our people are so creative, and they do such a wonderful job at supporting our mission, and our mission is high achievement for all through continuous improvement. And so that's one of the things that I feel like that we do really well, is continuing to sharpen our skills and to do better and never be satisfied with the status quo. And so we continue to work on that. Our people in our schools, our teachers, our leaders, they're in positions in professional organizations all across the state. They're in leadership roles. They're leading the way, but it's really emulating and showing our students what it's like to be a leader And I think this community is very supportive of our student organizations, and you may think lightly of those student organizations when you hear somebody talking about an FBLA or FCCLA or AG, but those young people are learning leadership skills in all of those programs. And so, you know, that's just our part of doing, you know, of helping our students to lead the way and be deliberate about it and think through that process to really, how am I leading the way? And so it's a challenge that we issue to our students, that we issue to our adults, and we do feel like they're doing an outstanding job in leading the way, not only in this community, but in the state of Georgia and the nation.
Very good. So let's talk about some new initiatives that the district has implemented here recently.
Yes, so last year in October, we received our graduation rate, and it was 87.6, and we were above the state average, almost 4%. But we started talking about, you know, if you're that part that's not graduating, that you're not getting across the finish line, you know, then all the pats on the back and the recognitions of the graduation rate is not doing those students any good. So we started to focus, and you know, I'd heard that a large system our size, you know, there was no way you could get to 90%. So we started Operation Graduation. 90% is our destination, and you know, with that focus, in just that 1 year, last year, we're looking in October, when they release the graduation rate for this year, that not only will we hit that 90%, but we'll exceed the 90%.
That's amazing. I'm gonna jump in before the next one. That right there is leadership, y'all. He said, you know, a district our size not supposed to be able to hit 90%, and he said, watch me. Right? I mean, that's the leadership our district. Of course you blew it out of the water.
Well, and the other thing that we're really excited about is our House and Advanced Scholars Program. We refer to it as HASP, and we're much like the military. We love an acronym, and so we create names, and I'm not even sure, I think maybe Elgin Mayfield came up with that. I'm not sure if it's his team. But tell you a little quick story. Last year, we had a student that represented us at the Star Student of the Year. It was a regional winner, and went to Atlanta. And while we were in Atlanta, we were sitting with that family, and we had a conversation about the opportunities, and that student realized that a lot of opportunities that peers that were at the Star Student banquet, that they received in the metro Atlanta area. And so we started a conversation about, you know, how do we offer those kinds of programs in Houston County. And so I believe on the way back from Atlanta, we gave Dr. Mayfield the charge to go back and explore those opportunities. And so in probably 3 short months, we had the program in place at the Career Academy, so all 5 high schools can participate. They can have transportation to and from the Career Academy with the buses that were already running there. And we began the Scholars Program, and we're targeting our 10th grade students right now, but those students will be able to leave high school with 8 advanced math courses or 8 advanced science courses. We're offering courses that have never been offered in Houston County, and we feel like that our best students are our best and brightest are as bright as any students in anywhere in the United States or the world. And you know, that's a great opportunity for those students, and really it fits well with our goals of having high achievement for all students. And sometimes we focus on maybe the students that are struggling, and we're not doing enough for those students who are excelling. And so we're very proud of that program, and to watch it grow. We're not sure what the response would be. We created the program, we hired the teacher, and you know, it filled up. It's full, and so we're very proud of that. We're at max class size in the math classes, and well over the funding size in the science classes, and so we're very proud of that program, and excited to watch it grow in the next several years.
Yeah, Absolutely, and Abby is actually in the calculus class. Y'all, it is amazing, if you've got students of your own, or your staff members have students in their organizations, it's an incredible opportunity for those students who are taking a lot of AP or having to leave campus for some of the dual enrollments, to both be able to stay connected and plugged in with the things happening at their high school, but still take calculus, AB, BC, and honors history of math all in a 2-period day. Or the flip side with physics, and being able to cram 3 courses into 2. And it really gives them, again, that competitive edge that some of our metro counterparts get. And Houston County, it's amazing that we're able to see that here. So thank you for that leadership. And Dr. Mayfield, I know that was a sprint, but you guys did it, and you pulled it off. So we're excited to see where that goes from here. So everybody loves talking about turning dirt. It's a topic here that we love to hear about, the projects and the progress. Y'all are always building. Parrish can attest to that. So can you share with us a little bit about the projects that have been recently completed in the district?
Sure, we are very happy to have Matt Arthur Primary School that we opened on Talton Road, and you know, that was a project that we really needed to get up and moving, because the Matt Arthur attendance zone has been one that has been really difficult to keep up with the growth. We've rezoned that school a number of times over the years, and it seems like that we would move 250 kids out of the attendance zone, and then magically in a year or two they were back to 950 students. And so it's been a little bit eerie to go over there. We went the first day of school over there, and you know, to have those lower numbers, because they're around 500 students now. But we were able to open that school, and you know, we opened that without doing major rezoning, because we knew that they would come and that the numbers would grow. And so we're looking forward to that attendance zone to continue to grow. So that's a project that we're very proud of. We also completed, or are working on completing 2 renovation projects this summer. You know, we had Westside Elementary School on this end of the county, and we had Tucker Elementary School on the other end of the county, about as far apart as you can get, and you know, did major renovations there. They were both really old buildings that needed major renovations, and we've kind of created some issues with that. We wanted to do a more thorough renovation, and then we're finding that the time is very limited and to getting that work done, but it really is a big task to take those on, and we've been able to do multiple projects over the last several summers. And so we're proud to get those renovations, and really proud to be able to manage the East Splash funds and our local capital outlay funds in a way that we're able to continue to do those renovations, even though we're also building new classrooms. So doing both of those is not always a possibility, and so we've been able to manage those projects very well and keep it moving forward. And then we do have a baseball, softball initiative that we're, you know, if you kind of look back over our history, we've been able to address our athletic fields. For football, we've been able to put gymnasiums in, the competition gyms, where we're able to house our basketball and our volleyball teams and our wrestling teams. And I was just talking to a superintendent that was saying that you know, the people that came to basketball games didn't realize that their gyms were not air conditioned, but the people that came to their volleyball games realized that their gym was not air conditioned because of the time of year that they play. But we're just, you know, able to get those baseball, softball projects, and we really started with Northside High School deliberately, because oftentimes the baseball, softball programs historically have depended on parents and the type of parental support they had, and that really determined the quality of the areas that they had to play on. And so if you've not been by Northside High School and seen the girls' softball field is awesome. They're finished. They're actually playing over there. We're still working on the concession stand and the baseball field, but we hope by the first of the year to have all of that completed. So that was a big project for us this summer, and you know, kind of having to move everybody's cheese a little bit so that they don't know where they're going to practice and know where they're going to play, and working out all those things. And so that's a big project for us. And we also have middle schools that are set up as stadiums. We were able to do some parking improvements at Northside Middle School. That will help them because that is one of our stadium sites for middle school. And so it really helped them to move the parent pickup line from the front of the school. So if you ever went Johnson Road during the morning or the afternoon, it was completely shut down when school was getting out. And so we're able to move all that traffic off of the road and really have the parking lot for the staff members separated from the car rider line and the bus loop being separate from the car rider line as well. So, you know, we've continued to work on roofing projects throughout the district, and so it's, you know, summertime's always a busy time for us, but, you know, we're kind of in the planning phase. There's two things going on right now. We're looking for design professional for the STEM Academy, and we hope to have that selection to the board in September so that we'd have identified a design professional and move forward, and that is currently planned for the land out on 41. You know, and so that project is something that we're working on. And then finally, the Veterans Middle School, our board did officially name that in our last meeting. Veterans Middle School, I know there's been a lot of talk about that over the years, and
Over a decade.
yeah, so and I'll just give you a little tidbit of information on the enrollment and the trends for our district, and then we can move on to another question. But you know, when we had the pandemic, our district saw about a 500 student drop, and that's really unusual for our district to have a drop in enrollment. The following year, all those students showed back up, numbers were good, but the weird thing about our numbers is we still have not exceeded the pre-pandemic numbers for elementary and middle school. And so that puts us in a holding pattern because the complicated formula for earning state dollars for a middle school, and so the more needs you have, the more money you get for capital outlay. And so that's kind of put us in there, but we really believe it has to do with the availability of starter homes and those kinds of things, because in that same time frame, we've grown over 700 students in the high schools. So more mature families are moving into the community, whereas the elementary and middle school age families, we're not seeing as much with that. So our numbers are pretty strong this year. Last year, the official October count, we were just under 31,000, and you know, I'm projecting that we will be over 31,000 this year. So that makes us the 12th largest district in the state of Georgia. Really, outside of the metro Atlanta area, there's Savannah in enrollment. They're above us at about 39,000, and then Houston County is above the Columbus and Augusta communities.
It's incredible. So, probably not necessarily qualifies as a project, but I know that y'all expanded some offerings at the Lindsay Student Support Center over the summer. That is an incredible resource that I don't know that enough people really know about what all is offered there. If you could share a little bit about that for a second.
Yes, it's something that just started out as, you know, how do we get services to the students in that area of our community, and it really has grown into a partnership with a lot of other agencies, and most recently with United Way. United Way is helping us with the food bank. We have people that are coming there all the time to get food. We've got a clothes closet, so if you've got gently used clothes that you want to donate, that would be a great place to donate. And so we've also got wash machines and dryers there. We want to help provide those services so people are not having to figure out how they're going to go to the laundromat and afford to wash clothes. If you've not been in a laundromat in a long time, it's really expensive. And so it's those kinds of services. We've been able to partner with the North Central Health District and offer some health clinics, and we've had some very successful days where we've provided a lot of health services to the community at low, you know, if they're insured, it's a low, you know, charge as far as the copay or whatever, but then if they're not insured, they don't pay anything. And so we're continuing to expand. So if you're looking for somebody to partner with, that's a great place to partner, and it directly impacts, you know, what we're doing and really helps take care of those very basic needs for our students. And we're seeing it become a regional thing. People in other communities are hearing about it. Last year, we provided a lot of programs, and we thought that it would be constrained to just the people in that neighborhood. But we had students that were enrolled in Tucker Elementary coming all the way up here to participate in those activities. So it's a great program, and it's turned out to be more than we ever envisioned.
That's awesome. So outside of the school's kind of identifying the students that need those services. If anybody in the audience has employees that they know are struggling with any of that, what's the best way for them to learn more?
Well, it is included on our website. They have a great web page about the resources, and we are always excited. Dana Wiggins is our Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, and she oversees that facility and those people and works with those people, and we have mental health services in that building. It's just a wide range of programs, and we've kept an open mind about how to serve the community. And you know, you really don't know until you kind of start down that path what the needs are going to be. And it's really been amazing the support that we've received from this community, the organizations, and then the number of people that we've been able to assist. And it's really kind of helping ourselves rather than just complaining, well, our students don't have these services or they don't have these opportunities. It's really creating those opportunities.
That's fantastic. So, of course, one of the most important roles of the Board of Education and you as superintendent is setting the annual budget. He's already smiling. He loves talking about numbers. This year, you guys passed the largest budget ever of over $571 million. Break that down for us. Share with us some of the things that are included in that.
Well, the big thing for us is, of course, you've heard me say that we opened Mount Arthur Primary School, and when you open a school like that, then you're going to have to hire the people that get the things done, like your custodians and your school nutrition workers that have to make sure that our children are getting fed. And then, you know, you've got those positions that you normally have in a school, like a principal and the secretary for the principal, the med tech, the counselor, you know, those are positions that are new. And something that people sometimes are confused about is we don't go out and hire an entire new teaching staff because we're moving those grades from another school. So a lot of the teachers would come from the teachers that were already in place at Mount Arthur Elementary School. And so it's not as much those people. But then we also had the opportunity this year, we've added a lot of square footage over our district over the last 10 years. And we've really not added to the maintenance teams. And so we have maintenance teams, and those are assigned based on the amount of square footage that they cover, that they're responsible for. And if you see those guys out cutting grass in the summertime, those are the same guys that are changing our light bulbs and doing all the other things. So that grass cutting is an extra duty for them. They do an outstanding job, and sometimes if you've ever had any Bahia grass, you know that you can cut it and it rained the next day and it's back up looking like it needs to be cut. So I always say, please be kind to those people because they do an outstanding job, and our board has done a great job in supporting them, and that's some of the things that they were able to do this year. I know that we just approved the purchase from that budget of some 104-inch zero-turn mowers. And so when you're cutting 104 inches at a time, you know, people are your most expensive commodity. And so if you can get more done with less people, then the economy of scale works for you. And so we've been able to support them in that role. We've also been able to replace some vehicles that were aging out, and it's amazing when you look at our inventory of vehicles and how old some of those vehicles are. But the thing that we're also proud of is that we've been able to purchase additional buses, and we try to stay on that cycle because we've got over 200 buses, and you know, with that, you've got to be constantly replacing because they're aging out every year, and if you don't spread that out, then at some time there's going to come a time when you got to buy a lot at one time, and there's just not resources to do that. So we try to manage those resources and make sure that our staff has the things that they need But included in that budget was also a 5.16% increase, cost of living increase, and something that we have focused on is trying to raise the teacher's salary, and so we've been able to do that. And I know that I always get strange looks when I say 5.16%, and they're like, how did you come up with that crazy number? Well, the state, awarded a minimum increase based on the QBE formula. And so what we did is we took our lowest paid teacher and found out what percent that was of that teacher's salary, so that everybody gets the minimum, but we want to keep our pay scale healthy by giving that percentage so you don't compact your pay scale over time. So you want your more seasoned teachers to get a little more of an increase, and really most of them, and I know that most of you are not aware of our pay scale, but our pay scale gives increases, the state pay scale gives increases based on years of experience, but that stops at 21 years. So at 21 years, those people stop getting any increase based on, so if we don't give a cost of living, they don't get an increase for the last 9 or 10 years of their careers. So we try to focus on that, and we're very proud of being able to get the starting teacher salary up to over $50,000 a year. It's right at $51,000, and so that's been something that has been a big thing for us, and an accomplishment that we really are proud of. And so the board did all those things, and at the same time, we're able to recommend on Monday that we have a rollback of the millage of 1.464 meals, and then also be able to put a little bit of money into our fund balance to keep that strong, so that if we have an economic downturn, we're able to kind of ride the storm out for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, based on recent discussion, I was expecting a room full of thunderous applause when you announced that y'all roll back the millage rate, but it's a little complicated. So the millage rate for the school district is different from other government entities. Can you explain that?
Yeah, and I know you all sitting out there as a taxpayer say, yeah, he says it's different, but what is it really different? And so the QBE formula that's been around for a long time now is how we earn our funding, and it's pretty complicated formula, but it's a pretty simple theory, I guess, in that you provide the service to the students, you get a certain amount of money for those services that you provide, and the state sends that money to you. What most people don't know is the state withholds 5 meals tax. So they find out the value of a meal in Houston County, and they multiply that times 5, they withhold those funds. So they say, this is what the amount of money that you will need to pay every one of your teachers that are standing in front of your kids, but we're going to withhold that amount. For this fiscal year, it's just under $25 million that they withhold from us. So right off the top, 5 meals of tax go to that 5 meal share. That 5 meal share is based on the value of the property in our community. So the reason that we're doing a rollback is because we had $711 million worth of reassessment this year. And the law says we either have to roll back that amount or we have to have 3 hearings to maintain that millage. Well, so for the municipalities and the county government, they make that decision, and then they know the revenue that they're going to receive based on that. So we made the decision to roll back that 1.464 mills and not to have a millage increase or a tax increase for this calendar year taxes. So what that means for us next year is the value. You heard me say $711 million in value went up. So that means the value of a meal increased. So next year, the value of our 5 meal share that the state will hold will grow $3.4 million. So we will get $3.4 million less from the state next year because the value of a meal in our community went up. So, like I said, the county government, the municipalities, they made the change. It reduces how much they collect in local taxes, and that's their main funding source. Our main funding source is the state of Georgia, and so it reduces our millage. It reduces the amount of money we receive because our 5 mil share, which is subtracted off of our money, increases. So that's $3 million. And that, in a total budget of $571 million, you could probably take pretty good. The problem with that is we also receive equalization. Many of my colleagues often say, Houston County is rich, I've got all this money. But in fact, we're not. We're 147 out of 180 districts, so that means 146 school districts in the state of Georgia have more per pupil wealth than we do in Houston County. And why? Because we have a lot of organizations, we have Robins Air Force Base, that is not on our tax digest. So there's a lot of things that we don't receive tax on. To give you a good example of that, so if you look at our digest is just above Bibb County's digest. But our weighted FTE, which is our student count and how they're served, is 16,000 more than Bibb County. So that means their denominator is much smaller than ours. So that means their per pupil wealth is more than ours. And so when you look at those two, they rank 98 out of 180 districts. We rank 147. And to kind of put it in perspective, the average per pupil wealth for the state of Georgia is $234,000 per FTE. The per pupil wealth in Houston County is $126,000 per FTE. So there's a big difference in that. And so the way that works, we get equalization dollars, and that was a significant part of our funding last year from the state. We received $71 million as part of our budget from the state for equalization. That equalization money is impacted by the amount of taxes that you levy. So what they're saying is, you're $108,000 from the state average. We're going to give you money to offset that lack of ability to raise money through local taxes by giving you these funds. However, it's going to be based on the amount of millage that you implement in your community. So a 1.464 rollback equals a $7 million loss in equalization. So now we've lost 3.4 million and 7 million. So it's over $10.4 million that we will lose in next year's funding to roll the millage back 1.4 mils. And so it's a complicated process. You know, I guess the volume of money that's collectively over the state can't exceed 20% of the QBE dollars allotted. So thankfully, we hit the 20% this year as a state, and so ours was reduced. So our full 5 mil, if you take the value of a meal and multiply it times 5, it's over $28 million, but we only had it's just under $25 million held back from us because we hit that 20% cap. However, if the General Assembly in the midterm adds money because of growth, then our district will receive extra funds because we'll grow. But some of that will be offset because then the state spent more money, and now 20% is a larger number. So then we also get an increase in our 5 mil share that's withheld. Complicated process, I promise you. You know, it's publicly available. You can see the 5 mil share. It's a significant amount. It's $25 million. And so when we talk about rolling, and I say all that, it's a long story to say our board did it out. I mean, it's a big deal for us to roll back 1.464. I mean, it really is a big deal. And it will have an impact on the Board of Education, but we made that decision as an informed decision, knowing that those things were going to happen. I just don't want anybody to take it lightly because it was a big decision, and it's a long-lasting decision because typically we've held strong on the millage rate. We've not increased in 20 years, and you know, as we look at that, it's been, you know, we've just not rolled the millage back every time that we've had the opportunity, and that's wise because it does impact us in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. So You enjoyed that a lot. Like, he's really good at that. And congratulations to all of you. You just sat through your first advanced math class with the Houston County School District. So, staying on taxes for a second. Some may have heard in the media that our school district also has a lost tax. So if you weren't confused enough already, can you share with us what the lost tax is and how that works?
Yes, and I would say that our former superintendent, Matt Arthur, really had a vision that many school districts are envious of today. When you look at the lost tax, the history of lost tax, most communities know the lost tax from the standpoint of it was a tax that was put in place in the 70s, early 70s. I think late 70s, the Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional. The General Assembly immediately established 159 taxing jurisdictions to change the Constitution, and so those tax jurisdictions align with the counties, 159 counties. And so in the early 80s, you know, the group of legislators from Houston County presented a bill that would allow the Houston County School District to have a lost tax for education purposes. And that was a change to the Constitution of the state of Georgia. That constitutional amendment was approved, but it also had a caveat that that would always be a rollback. And so if you look on your tax bill this year, it'll be a 5.884 mil rollback on your tax bill. And so we always rank in the top 10% of districts with the lowest millage rate because of that 1 cent sales tax. And so it is something that was put in place through a constitutional amendment. There are 10 school districts that have that, 8 counties. 2 of those counties have city school systems. I believe it's Pelham City Schools and Treon City Schools, and so there's 10 school districts in the state of Georgia that have that, and a lot of places and a lot of other communities, or a lot of other superintendents, really, if I'm honest about it, always complain about us having that and them not having it, but they think of it as additional resources. It's not additional resources, it's just another path, because it tied to that was a rollback provision, and also a cap on the millage rate as well. So overall, we're under both the cap and the rollback provision in that. And so it's pretty simple. You just really take the value of a meal, whatever the value of a meal is in your community or this community, and we then take the 1 cent sales tax, we collect that 1 penny, the amount of money it raises, then we divide it by the value of a meal, and that's how we determine the rollback. And this year it was 5.884. And so we do that every year, and it's on our 5-year levy. If you look, you can see the rollback for each year that was advertised in the paper. So it's again, it's a different revenue source, and it's something that we're very fortunate to have. And so just to kind of recap, the whole thing is we have 7 cents of sales tax in Houston County. 4 cents of that goes to the state. 1 penny goes to the county and the municipality SPLOST. 1 penny goes to the eSPLOST, which goes to the school system. And 1 penny goes to the lost tax, which goes to the school system and is a rollback on the local taxes.
Very good. So I got 2 questions as we start to wrap up, which doesn't mean we have to go fast, but in, I guess, just a few weeks ago at opening session, you announced your retirement, and surprised a lot of people in the room. I think he got we stood up through half of his speech after that, because I know you've just touched so many lives and had such an incredible impact on our school district. But you announced your retirement at the end of this school year. And so looking back, can you share with us some of those things that you're most proud of in the work during your tenure here in Houston County?
Well, there's so many things to be proud of in our community and in our school district, and I think one of the things that I'm most proud of is the Power of 18. It started as the Power of 15, and I didn't come up with it. I heard that somewhere from a presentation that was from out of state. I went up to the person and said, hey, I might be using this, and they said, help yourself. And I went back, and for probably 6 months, the executive cabinet heard more about Power 15 than they ever wanted to hear. And so I started talking to Ivan Allen about it, and you know, in Ivan's fashion, he said, why not do it? Why not do it? So we started looking at how we navigate the whole accreditation thing with the technical college. How do we offer the program? And really the focus was, when we looked at our dual enrollment, we had students that were not participating, and the best indicator that we could tell was they didn't have transportation. So all of the dual enrollment for our community was students that were able to drive themselves or had transportation to get to have access to those programs. So we started focusing on that. We never dreamed that it would turn in. We thought it was going to be hard to get to 15 college hours. We are at 18 college hours now, and so students can get 18 college credits without leaving their school campus. And so what that's done for us is pretty much the enrollment in that program matches the demographics of our district. And so regardless of socioeconomic status or whatever, they have access to that. Let's see, other things. When I think about the ability to continue to raise our teacher salaries, not only for our beginning teachers, but for our veteran teachers. And I have other superintendents say, we can't compete with y'all because y'all are hiring all the teachers. And then some of them will say, we're gonna catch y'all and that kind of thing. And I was like, we're not sitting at the finish line waiting on you. We're still moving forward. And but that's something that we've been proud of, is focusing on teachers. And I always say that we have two types of employees: those that teach and those that support teachers. And our role, the board and the superintendent and the executive cabinet's role, is to support those teachers. And it's easy to say sometimes, but it's more difficult to carry that out. So we've tried to create that culture of supporting our staff, and really it comes in different ways. I mean, there's really about having the curriculum resources that they need to do the job. And that's one of the things I failed to say when we were talking about the budget is, all of the curriculum resources that we're able to put in front of our teachers. And we're so proud of the work that we're doing and the literacy, in the area of literacy, and being able to purchase those resources for our teachers, because they are burdened with so much, having to create so much in order to deliver the very best instruction to our students. And so we felt like that we should be able to take some of that off of them. And Dr. Mayfield has really been a godsend in that area, because he's worked really hard. He understands literacy instruction, and spent a large portion of his career, just about all of his administrative career, in schools that had the primary grades. And so we lean on him heavily, but we're so proud of the work being done with regard to literacy. And we're also really proud of the opportunities to grow the Career Academy and the partnerships with people like Frito-Lay, the Five Starter Fab Lab, just some of the programs that are out there. We've enjoyed partnerships with the municipalities, with the county commissioners, with Robins Air Force Base. The Synergy Center, is a huge deal for us, and I feel like it's for Robins Air Force Base. We've also been able to do some things for our military dependents in our schools that have really improved the quality and the way that the military felt that the school district was serving the students. And so we're very proud of that. And you know, there's all kinds of opportunities out there. And I know I say it to my people all the time, but Dr. Allen's got a saying that always says, you know, how do we get to yes? And it's about how do we get to yes on things. And so oftentimes we're all guilty of, when you start a new project, is you're thinking about all the roadblocks, all the barriers, but really when everybody focuses on how to get to yes, you end up being successful with those things. And there's just so many things that we've done that you know, I'm proud of. And, that's it.
Very good. So as we wrap up the school year and you're looking to, you know, next chapter, what is your hope for the future of the school district?
Well, and I think I said it earlier when I said keep the main thing, and that's really, I believe that we've got to keep a focus on the students, and our community is only going to be as strong as our education system. So it's worth the support. It's a big deal when we talk, and I know our legislators are great at listening to us. We might not always come to the outcome that we had hoped for, but we can always say that they were engaged in the process, and we appreciate that. Representative Ballard, Representative Blackman, and I don't know if there's anybody else in the room, but from the legislators. But you know, continue those partnerships with our community liaisons and Robbins Air Force Base, and really just you know, that they can be proud of the partnerships that they have with the school district, that they can go other places and people want to come to Robbins because of the relationship with the school district. And then our community partners, like the county commissioners and our municipalities, we want to continue to build, strengthen those collaborations. And oftentimes, you know, if we just forget about who gets the credit and who's paying you know, a little bit more than somebody else, and we just figure out what we can all do to work together and to be successful, then our community is the winner in those situations. And so I just hope that y'all will continue to support our school district, and we can continue to say that this is a community that loves and supports public education.
Absolutely. Dr. Scott, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Thank you for continuing the great legacy of leadership that we have here in Houston County. You have left and will continue to leave an indelible mark. And we realized last week that this would be the last time I've got you on stage before your retirement in May. And it felt appropriate for us to go ahead and make a presentation that we do for our outgoing and retiring community partners, and that's with a jacket that we've got from the chamber. And we just want to honor you and thank you for everything you do for our community and students. Perfect. Y'all join me in thanking him once again for sharing with us today. Dr. Scott, you leave big shoes to fill, literally and figuratively, and I couldn't resist. And we can't thank you enough. In closing, you've got some important dates on your tables there. We actually have a twofer for our next exit issues. We're going to be doing economic development with Angie Giesling and the Development Authority of Houston County in the morning, and then ending the day with Business After Hours at Sunmark Bank on 96 on September the 12th. We hope you will mark your calendars and plan to be with us on that day, early and late. And then the big news on your table that we are incredibly excited about, Robbins Air Force Base and Houston County was selected to host the Air Force Materiel Command Civic Leader Program, which is civic leaders from across the country in installations like ours. And leading that effort is General Duke Richardson. He's the 4-star out of Wright-Patterson, and we have the incredible opportunity to host him for a dinner on the evening of October the 24th. We hope that you'll all mark your calendars. We're working out the final things on logistics because this is going to be a big regional event. Our goal is to have 400 or 500 people there, so go ahead and mark your calendars. Go ahead and be thinking about a table. But if you've never heard him speak, it's very inspiring and it's exciting to see, and General Everling can attest, the role that Robins Air Force Base plays in the big picture for our nation and around the globe, and you won't want to miss that opportunity, I promise you. The thank you cards, don't forget to fill those out. You can leave those on your table and we will grab those. As you leave, drop your name tag and grab the goodies from our friends at Parish Construction, and we'll see you guys next time.